Good afternoon, girls. Today I'm going to continue with the prose. Yesterday, and day before yesterday, I just uploaded about Hero as a poet introduction, author introduction, and yesterday about the prose work. Today we are going to get into the text of the prose. So, in this prose work, we are going to see two poets whom Thomas Carlyle considered as a hero. So, here comes the first hero, Dante, and the second one, Shakespeare. These two are the best heroes of the period whom Carlyle considered as a poet for the hero, as a poet for the life. So the first comes Dante as a hero poet. Why? What made Carlyle to call Dante as a hero poet? So here comes the reasons and the things to remind what are the qualities he got as a hero. Carlyle calls Dante the saint of poetry. He is a saint. Who is a saint? Dante is a saint. And he says that he has to be worshipped. Saint means a Holy Spirit, a man of holiness, that is called a saint. So Dante is a saint of poetry. So we have to worship him, and will continue to be worshipped in future as well. Not only now, we have to worship him in future as well. He got such noble characters. Not much is known about his life. There is nothing important about his life. His work, The Divine Comedy, is our only source of knowing the nature of the man and of his heroic gifts. See, in this work, The Divine Comedy, Dante brings out the nature of the man, how the man would be, what are the qualities of the man exist in the world, and of his heroic gifts, what are the heroic characters we have as a man. So in this work, Dante clearly explains about the nature of the man and what are the heroic characters exist in the life of every man. So girls, Dante was fairly well educated. He was fairly well educated author. He was very intelligent. Though he was educated, all the educated persons are not intelligent, ma. He was well educated as well as he was intelligent. And he was very hard working author. He was very hard working. And so rose. Rose means past tense of the rise. And so rose to be one of the chief magistrates of Florence. Because of this, because of his intelligence, because of his hard working, he stands one of the chief magistrate of Florence. Chief magistrate means a top personality. But his life was marked by suffering and loneliness. The life of Janti was marked by sufferings. He got many suffering issues in his life, and he was loneliness. He was loneliness. What for he was loneliness? What made him to suffer like this? Here comes, he loved Beatrice. Beatrice is the name of the woman Dante loved, but could not marry her. He loved her. Her name is Beatrice, but he could not marry her because she was already married. How come to get married the married woman for the second time? But could not marry her as she was already married. After that, as I told you, he was a chief magistrate in the place of Florence. Florence is the name of the place, and he was a chief magistrate there. Due to political opponent, he was banished from the Florence. Banished means sent out. He was banished from the Florence by his political opponents. Misery, humiliation, and suffering were heaped on him. Misery, the hard life, humiliation, sending out, and sufferings were heaped. Heaped means criticism. These are the things made him to stand. This all the sufferings, miseries, then humiliations were made him to stand stretch. But even in the face of all the sufferings, his head remained unbowed. With all the sufferings, his head was unbowed. He never unbowed. He never put his head down. Though he was banished, though he was loneliness, though his days were very miserable, though he was humiliated by the others, but everything made him very strong. But he never and ever remained unbowed, as is always the case with truly great men. The great men never unbowed, ma. Great men never unbowed. Next, for the major part of his life, Dante was a hopeless wanderer. He was wandering here and there without any hope of life. He was poor. And he was banished. He was sent out without any home. He don't have place to stay. He don't have house. He don't have friend. And mainly, he don't have hope. So, but the deeper he suffered, the deeper was the insight that he gained into the eternal world. How deeper he suffered, that suffering made him into the eternal world. Eternal, E-T-E-R-N-A-L. Eternal means without end. So, he lead the life of suffering, but he overcomes with the eternal world. Eternal world means without end. Dante also had the passion. He is a very passion man. Passion means strong feelings and sincerity. And he was a very sincere person, which all great men possess. Like all great men, he also possess the same passion and sincerity towards the work. Okay. Intensity is another important quality of the poetic genius of Dante. He was very intensity, which means strength. That is the important character quality of the poetic genius of Dante. Whatever comes in his life, he was banished, he was poor, he was hopeless, he was out of the house, whatever it may be, he was very intensity means he faced with the strength. So this made him the best quality as a genius of Dante. He is world deep, not worldwide. He know the world deeply. He know about the persons. He know about the life. He knows the world deeply, but he is not worldwide familiar. Okay, he knows the world, but he was unknown to the world. Okay, that is the main idea of the sentence. Important line to you have to quote, ma. He is world deep, not worldwide. Okay, it is his intensity that gives him intellectual insight. His strength gives him intellectual insight. Intellectual insight means he was very talented. He was very talented in sight. Then he is brief and precise in communicating his thoughts. He never go ahead for the stretched long verses, ma. He is very precise. He is very brief in his communication. He is very short person. He brings ideas into a short form with a clear mode of his thoughts. So he is brief and precise in communicating his thoughts. He says what he has to say in the fewest possible words. He say whatever he want to convey to the others, he brings out in a fewest possible words. He never take much more, ma. He never go with much words. He finish it off with the possible fewest words. So he never adopt to the situation of a long words or a high things to be quoted. And his silence is more eloquent than speech. Eloquent, eloquent. Eloquent means fluent in speaking. See, moreover, his communication, his words, whatever it may be, he is silence. He is fluent in the silence than the speech. He is more eloquent. He is more eloquent than speech. He is more eloquent in writing of the speech. Dante also had the gift of sympathy. He is very sympathetic person, but no one showed the sympathy for Dante. But Dante was very sympathetic person, which imparts picturesque vividness. Vividness means vividness. He was very powerful to his portraits and descriptions. His speech and his ideas are very vivid. Vivid means powerful. His portraits and description. His descriptions are very powerful. His sympathy enables him to see into the heart of things. His sympathy, because as I told you, he is a very sympathetic person. We can see the sympathy from his heart and understand and grasp the essence of reality. We can see the real essence of reality from the heart of Dante. Dante is a spokesman of the Middle Ages. He belongs to the Middle Ages. His epic is a voice of 10 silent centuries. His epic, his writing style, his epic writing, the way how he writes the epic, will stand with 10th century silence. 10th century silence. How the epic his epics will carry out for the last last 10th century is silent. As a hero poet, Dante. As a hero poet, Dante is a monarch. Monarch means independent kingdom of an empire and is more abiding. Abiding means Abiding. Abiding means remain long time. So he remains long time as a hero poet. Abiding means remains long time and than any empire based on military conquest. Whatever military comes to conquest, but the Dante remains abiding forever with the full hope. Okay, next. Carroll is all praise for divine comedy. Thomas Carroll, he praises for the divine comedy. He calls it divine song. It is not a divine comedy, it is a divine song. Okay, and it is a transcendental mystic song. Transcendental means the spiritual means religious oriented and God oriented. And as I told you, the voice of 10 silent centuries. What are the things happened in the 10th centuries? It was brought up by the Dante in his work. Okay, and the Christian epic. Divine comedy is considered as a divine song and a transcendental mystic song. Transcendental mystic song means religious song, and it was the silence of the 10th centuries, and it was a Christian epic work, and which reflects the soul and the suffering, devotion, hard working, sincerity, intensity, and moral profundity of its author. So in this work we can see the author as a hardworking, sincere, a very moral. Profundity means a very moralist person, a moral oriented person. So that's why Thomas Carroll, he compares Dante as a hero poet. Next, Dante epic is divided into three parts. The Divine Comedy epic work of Dante was divided into three parts. One is Inferno, and another one is Purgatorio and a Paradiso. These are the three parts of the Dante's epic. Let us see what each three parts conveys about. The first part is Inferno. Inferno is about divine comedy divided into three parts. First one is Inferno, and the second one is Purgatorio and the Paradiso. So in the first part, Inferno, he gives a description about hell, and the Purgatorio describes how the soul experience remorse, REMORC. Remorse means what are the problems which we face and what are the things we have to see purged of their sins in hell. So what are the problems and what are the things we have to face in the hell, that comes in the second part. While Paradiso is a description of a world of beauty, light and song, where Dante meets Beatrice. In the third part, he tells about Paradiso is a place where we can enjoy, where we can see the beauty, where we can enjoy with the nature, and where he meets the Beatrice, and what are the things happens about his personal life that comes in the paradise. Okay, so the Divine Comedy describes Dante's imaginary journey through all these three parts of the invisible world of spirits. Excuse me. The Divine Comedy divided into three parts: Inferno, second one is Purgatorio and Paradiso. In the first part he tells about the hell, he describes about the hell. In the second parts, what are the mistakes, what are the problems we have to face in the hell, what are the punishments we'll be getting out for our lifetime, that comes in the second part. And in the third part, it is a paradise about the life to enjoy, music, light, dance, beauty, nature of the beauty, Beatrice, how he loves her. So this and all comes in the third part. So this work is an imaginary journey through all the three parts of this invisible world of spirits. So these are the journey of the poem. Though Hell and Purgatorio, Dante is led by Virgil. He was led by the Virgil, the author, the ancient Roman poet, and the Beatrice through to the regions of paradise. So the first two parts of the Divine Comedy was followed by the Virgil. He was a Roman poet, and the third part, Beatrice, about the Paradiso, has been come from the regions of paradise. Okay. Next, the Divine Comedy embodies a vision of the other world. The Divine Comedy is not the vision of our world, it is a divine vision of the other world, and it is also an allegory, allegorema, allegory. Allegory means hidden meaning of Christian life. It is an allegory of Christian life, and it is a spiritual autobiography of Dante, and an encyclopedic reflection of the knowledge of its day, and it is an encyclopedic days of the life. So the three parts of the poem are like the three parts of the symmetrical, well proportioned building with the solemn, majestic, and always inspiring. So these are the three important parts of the Divine Comedy, in which Dante was considered as a hero poet. Okay, and in this poem he pours out his art because he has comes with the sincerity, and he touches the each and every reader's heart by his explanation. Next, the Divine Comedy also abounds in a vivid and a graphical description. In this comedy, in this work, he abounds with a vivid. Vivid means powerful things of imagination, and a graphical description. Graphic description means a reality of the beauty, or some picture. How he describes, that is a picturesque. That is called as graphic description, and he clearly portrays. The source of this vividness lies in the poet's intellectual superiority and his deep sympathy with the subject. So he stands with the intellectual superiority. Intellectual means his talented superiority and his deep sympathy with the subject. He ever goes with the sympathy of the subject. The scenes abound in a large variety of colors, darkness, background is somber and dark. These are the real imagination of the Dante's Divine Comedy. Thus, Divine Comedy, according to the Carol, it is an expression of the one of the noblest of souls. So this work is considered as the noblest of souls. So it has comes into the close of the heart of every readers, that is, which will continue to it will continue to enthrall. Enthrall means comes in the mind of each and every readers for ages to come. So this is a very wonderful work of Dante as a hero poet, which was written by Thomas Carroll. So these are the unique features he describes about the author Dante, why he nominated him as a hero, to be a poet hero, to be a hero poet. That's why he took this work of prose to explain why he selected Dante and Shakespeare as a best hero of the historic. So today I have completed only the first part of the prose about Dante, and tomorrow I am going to teach you about William Shakespeare as a hero. So girls, I hope you are all clear about Dante, about the important work Divine Comedy, and how it was divided into 3 parts, and what are the 3 important parts, and what are the independent parts tells about the epic work, and what are the features our author Thomas Carroll was adopted and inspired by the Dante. So girls, tomorrow I'll teach you about Shakespeare. So I will stop here. I wish everyone to be safe and secured. So girls, stay home, stay safe, and go digital. Girls, then one more thing I like to share. Very soon, right from the September 1st, we are going to conduct first CAA through the online classes in the same panel we are going to conduct. So it is an objective type with the multiple choice questions. So I'll come up with that CAA part alone tomorrow. Before that, kindly go through the topics every day and listen to the audio as well as the material we are posting here. If you have any doubts, you can ask me, ma. Tomorrow I upload one separate video, video with the connection of the audio, with the syllabus, timetable, and the format of the questions. I wish everyone to be safe and secure. Thank you girls. See you. Bye bye.